white privilege debate clips from C-SPAN.
First of all, my first question is, who bribed Hunter Biden to be here today? That's my first question. Second question, you are the epitome of white privilege, coming into the Oversight Committee, spitting in our face, ignoring a congressional subpoena to be deposed. What are you afraid of? You have no balls to come up here and...
Mr. Chairman, point of inquiry.
Mr. Chairman,
if
the ladies recognize.
If the gentlelady wants to hear from Hunter Biden, we can hear from him right now, Mr. Chairman. Let's take a vote and hear from Hunter Biden. What are you afraid of?
Hold on. Order.
I remember this clip, and a lot of conservative commentators were mad that Nancy Mace talks about women and white privilege and all that stuff. And yeah, I guess that's true. They shouldn't play that game because you can never win at their own game. But I don't know. I think it kind of forces them. Now, of course, they're never going to acknowledge any level of hypocrisy, but it kind of forces their hand, just like Marjorie Taylor Greene did at the State of the Union. It forces them to say the things they don't want to say, and it just exposes the hypocrisy a little bit further. Again, they're never going to acknowledge it, but it's good to expose it and let other people acknowledge it.
Order.
Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Are women allowed to speak in here or no? Could you keep interrupting me?
I'll interrupt the chairman.
Keep interrupting.
I don't know that he's a lady.
I think that Hunter Biden should be arrested right here, right now, and go straight to jail. Our nation is founded on the rule of law.
Come on.
And the premise that the law applies equally to everyone, no matter what your last
Point of order,
name.
Mr. Chairman. Point of
It
order.
doesn't matter who you are.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Biggs over here.
Donald Trump Jr.
Biggs over here.
State your point, Mr. Biggs.
Yeah, my point of order is this. Are we going to continue on with this blatant interruption? This is absurd and inappropriate. I intend to give my statement.
And here's part of the problem is that this guy, right, he seems, level-headed enough, but they always want to play by the rules when it's clear that the, wacky establishment left is not going to play by the rules. So you really have no choice. You don't really have a shot at winning because the media machine is way too strong. But if you're going to play their game, if you're going to play by the rules, you don't have a chance. So unfortunately, you have to go outside of the norms of professionalism in the House or whatever.
I don't intend to have anybody interrupted. I'm not going to interrupt your statements. I think you should have decorum and courtesy and don't act like a bunch of nimrods.
You just interrupted a woman.
And that's 5.
I got permission.
Can we agree? Everyone has
Mr.
5
Chairman,
minutes. Can we agree?
Point of order again. The assertion that I interrupted was absolutely false. That's typical of the gentleman who spoke it. I got permission to speak from the chairman. I spoke. I was interrupted yet again by the gentleman who doesn't choose to go through the chair and follow proper order. I encourage us. I think if we're going to have any respect at all, we need to have proper decorum.
Well said.
Okay, all right. So we love the Constitution today, and we also...
Oh, my word. Here we go. This is Jasmine Crockett, I think, who's going to be all up on her high horse of race baiting.
So want to talk about foreign money coming in. Have y'all seen the report that was just produced where this chairman decided that he was going to block this committee from receiving additional information about y'all's guy, Trump, and all the money that he took? From what we did receive,
Another human shield. She kind of looks like Tiffany Henyard, and she feels that she can do... Now, of course, Democrats are always above the law. They feel they can do whatever they want. It's just different when they do it. But you get an extra level of protection because we've come to the point where you can literally... you see thousands of clips of all this reverse racism, right? Where the high school kids beat up and smash the girl's head into the ground. Now, that's getting a lot of play in conservative media. I haven't seen Joy Reid talk about it. But my point here is, with this level of identity politics, these are the type of people that feel they truly feel like they can do whatever it is they want, and nobody will call them on it because they are too afraid of being called racist. But let's watch.
We know that Trump got almost $6 million that we can account for, and we know that there's more there from China specifically. We found
Okay, she wants to talk about Trump getting money, but is not when they ask her about Hunter Biden, what she's gonna say? Oh, he's just a loving father.
almost $8 million total that he accepted from foreign governments while he was serving as the president of these United States. But we're concerned about the president's son who has not been involved in his administration. I just want to run it back, though, to the very beginning, because this is something that I just can't get over. I can't get over the gentle lady from South Carolina talking about
And when did we start saying gentle lady? Has that been happening the whole time? Ladies and gentlemen. Now it's gentle ladies, and they've been doing that in several clips. I guess that's the norm now.
white privilege. It was a spit in the face, at least of mine as a black woman, for you to talk about what white privilege looks like, especially from that side of the aisle. And let me quote your now ousted speaker.
So when the right, when the common sense conservative, and Nancy Mace I don't think is a rock rib stone cold conservative, but when they say the same exact thing that the Democrats say, they get pissed off. Same thing with the we remember the sanctuary city billboards that are literally spending money to post the messages that Democrats actually said on billboards, but it's no good when they do it. It's like same thing with libs of TikTok. All libs of TikTok does is quite literally repost content from, left-wing bubbles to a different audience, and they want to put her in jail for that.
And what he had to say about the Republican Party and y'all's lack of diversity. When you look at the Democrats, they actually look like America. When I look at my party, we look like the most restrictive country club in America. So let me tell you something. Y'all don't know what white privilege looks like, but I'm gonna show you a little bit of something.
And they're also now, this is a little bit off topic, but they're also now at the point where people were complaining that Bo Biden said illegal in reference to the man who took out the young college girl from Atlanta. They were mad that he said illegal. Then the White House walked it back, then Bo Biden walked it back. He apologized for saying illegal. Then the White House representative walked the apology back and said he didn't apologize. And then some other lady comes out of left field, and now this news posted it, but she was mad that Marjorie Taylor Greene used the phrase say her name because that belongs to a certain group of people. And we constantly talk about the cultural appropriation, braids, dreads, whatever, but then you got Joy Reid rocking the blonde Trump wig, you got Beyonce, the list goes on and on. So these things quite clearly only work in one direction.
You see, you want to talk about a two-tier justice system, and this is the only time that y'all have ever referenced it, when this country has a history when it comes to black and brown folk of having two separate sets of rules.
Oh, and then when Donald Trump said that the black community might enjoy the mugshot because they're used to being, taken advantage of by the justice system, when he said it, it's no good. But when you say it, it is all good. And the big, mean, scary right-wing Republican Nancy Mace doesn't know anything about white privilege, even though you're constantly telling us exactly what it is.
And right now, what you want to do is have two separate sets of rules, because Mr. Moskowitz offered y'all a fair situation. He said he would vote for Hunter to be held in contempt if y'all voted to hold all, even if you remove all of the members of Congress. There's still other people that y'all haven't decided that y'all have excuses for, but y'all don't want to hold them in contempt. But for some reason, it makes...
Oh, this lady is just so smug. Par for the course, right? Just the picture of smug leftist Democrats spewing hypocrisy and not thinking twice about it, which is very sinister, to put it nicely.
...sense to hold Hunter Biden in contempt, who has tried to comply. And let me tell you why nobody wants to talk to y'all behind closed doors, because y'all lie. That's just the bottom line. You have done it thus far in this investigation. You have done it.
She might actually believe this, right? If you believe it, it's not a lie. So she spewed these talking points so many times. She's been so brainwashed that she actually believes this stuff. Maybe, right? I think she's a little bit stupider. I think she's a couple levels down from the incredibly sinister Nancy Pelosi or Gavin Newsom. I mean, Bo Biden can't even put a sentence together. I don't know who's controlling him, but they know what they're doing. This young lady here, Miss Crockett, she might actually believe this stuff, which puts her on a little bit more, stupid level and not so evil as some of the older politicians.
This far, as it relates to this committee, and every single hearing, y'all spin. I don't know how y'all are still standing right now, because you should be quite dizzy from all the spinning that you're constantly doing when it comes to spinning the truth.
Wow. I mean, there could be no more clear example of classic projection.
You talk about free and fair elections, but you back a guy who we know tried to steal the election. And this isn't about what Democrats have to say. Let me remind you, for those of you that don't know how the justice system works, it's not a matter of the president went in and indicted Trump, but we are talking about grand juries. Grand juries are comprised of American citizens, and the people that have entered pleas of guilty that will be flipping on your leader in a minute, they are Republicans. I do want to point that out. And half of them were Republicans.
And they always want to, okay, yeah, sure, you want to split it, Democrat, Republicans, that's fine. But we can see now from several different articles that there is no more Republican Party, right? I mean, love it, like it, hate it. Trump has taken over, quite literally. Laura Trump is the head of the RNC, but the old guard of the Republicans are gone. So clearly, yes, the old Republicans are going to turn on Trump because they were fans of the Uniparty, and I guess she doesn't understand that yet.
Republicans that were handpicked by Donald Trump himself. So, to be clear, whatever happens to your little leader, it's going to be because of the actions that he took. So you can talk all you want to about how January 6th was nonsense.
So she's clearly speaking to a very small segment of the population. Nobody's going to watch this, or I shouldn't say nobody, but most people aren't going to watch this and say, oh, how brave and beautiful. She made so many amazing points. She's literally just turning this on to rile up a handful of people that every single one of the people, the Cardi B fans that she's talking to, if every single one of them get on board and just, still at the end of the day, they vote for Joe Biden, it's not going to be enough. So who is this really for? You're not convincing anybody. And the people that she's trying to convince, I highly doubt, are watching C-SPAN.
But all of y'all were running at that time. Y'all were grabbing y'all's gas masks and y'all were running to your offices because you didn't know if they were coming to kill you. Oh. You should have cared that somebody was there to protect you, but instead you want to play games because you found out that it was your leader that decided that he wanted to propagate an insurrection on our country.
Wow, this is crazy. I mean, they have brainwashed this woman to the point where she's spewing this stuff. Or maybe they haven't. Maybe she is just as manipulative as Nasty the Crypt Keeper Pelosi and Newsom, scumbag, bang your wife, Governor Gavin. But I just don't know. I don't think she's that good of an actress. I think she truly believes this stuff, which is giving her a little bit of credit in the grand scheme, but that's how low the bar is.
So don't tell me that you care about the Constitution, because you don't. All you care about is Trump getting reelected, and I'll yield the last of my time to my...
No, that's incorrect. You don't care about the Constitution. All you care about is getting Trump. Look at Letitia James. Obviously, he owes us $600 billion, trillion, and then she goes after the meat packing company or something. Fat Alvin Bragg, obviously big fat Fannie Pack Willis. They were so brazen, right? She's flying around the world with her boyfriend on the taxpayer dime while trying to get Donald Trump. All she cares about is Orange Man bad and nothing about the Constitution. So, I mean, this is it. This is proof, I suppose, that we are quite literally living in the backwards, bizarro clown world.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just to address briefly, quickly, that moment about
is this AOC? It sounds like AOC. This is going to be brutal.
Privilege and all of this that we're seeing here. It was a very beautiful speech by the gentlelady. A
beautiful speech by the gentlelady. A completely unhinged rant by that woman.
She mentioned was help lead on the now majority side, the Civil Rights and Civil Liberties Subcommittee. But I think it's so exemplary of the point that she also oversaw the elimination of the Civil Rights Subcommittee on this committee, which really kind of gives the whole game away. We show up, we give speeches, we give flowery words, but at the end of the day, participate in the structural erosion of the rights and representation of people that are marginalized, women.
You can't talk about the structure because you guys are quite clearly backing one of the instrumental constructors of the structural system, right?
People of color, people that just need to see their due process and civil liberties protected in this country. But I will move on. As also the Republican side.
Oh, this is very theatrical. I will move. I don't. Politics is Hollywood for ugly people.
had mentioned in their many raisings of the January 6th committee that it's not just Hunter Biden, you, me, any individual subject to equal treatment under the law, to be held up to accountability under the law, but it is also these committees.
I mean, there's just no way, right? The glaring example, I mean, you could talk about the pro-lifers and they're throwing the book at them while the people who are bombing crisis pregnancy centers get nothing. But more importantly, they paid out BLM protesters with, some crooked, corrupt communist lawyers guild working for them. But the people who were protesting lockdown were, fired from their jobs and arrested and thrown out of restaurants. So obviously there's a two-tier system, but nobody, they just will not acknowledge it. And they know that most people aren't going to do the digging. They're not going to peel even the top layer off the onion. So what they say goes. But the tides are turning. The tables are turning. The turns are tabling.
And this committee that is subject to oversight and law. We must comply with the law here as well. Now, I may be one of the very few people that actually believes in Congress, in this country. But I do, and many of us do here. And
well, she has to because she's part of it, right? Like, I mean, if you don't believe in yourself, then you got nothing. I think Kanye West said that. But yeah, if you don't believe in Congress, then you're out of a job, which she obviously should be out of a job. Most of them should be out of a job.
We have an obligation to engage in good faith participation to execute and comply with the subpoena. The chairman said in front of the country several times to Hunter Biden, you can show up here in front of the world, in front of the public. Hunter Biden took him up on that offer. He said, I will show up in public. I will show up in public. He showed up here today. He showed up here in the past. And Mr. Chairman, I know you do your best with what you've got, but you've got members here that have submitted falsified evidence to the record. You have
Now, I think AOC is a level above Crockett. So Crockett is probably younger than AOC, and really, I don't know. Don't quote me on that, but Crockett is newer to this political regime than AOC, so she might still believe it. Then AOC, who once was at the level of Crockett, bumped up one notch and is a little bit closer to Nancy Pelosi, and she's completely evil. But you kind of, I mean, as awful as it sounds, you do sort of have to respect the commitment to insanity. I mean, I've said it before, I'll say it again. If the common sense contingent, the right wingers, were as steadfast in their beliefs as the left is about wacky policies and turning little boys into little girls, if they were half as steadfast, then we would have never gotten here. But little by little, everything creeps to the left, the Overton window, as they say. But again, for the last time, I think they hit a wall and it's starting to bounce back. We've seen dozens of stories, only in recent months, that kind of prove that, but different story.
Have members here that have submitted and mischaracterized closed-door hearings, and people want to say back and forth at the end of the day. It doesn't matter what party it's happened from. You've got members who've engaged in revenge porn in this committee, so it is understandable why
she's talking about revenge porn. I mean, you got Katie Hill, you got that weirdo Senate assistant twink who was filming OnlyFans videos or something on the. I mean, it's just ridiculous, and they completely ignore it.
Hunter Biden would want to
in
testify
fact,
in front.
So wait, pause. They actually don't ignore it. They acknowledge it and praise it and expect you to praise it too, is what I meant. Let's go back just a couple seconds.
Porn in this committee. So it is understandable why Hunter Biden would want to testify in front of the public for the American people to be able to.
So he wanted to testify in front of the public, and then they gave him that chance, and he did not. He declined that anyway.
To witness that testimony for themselves. You've got members who've defied subpoenas. You've got members who we are 1 year into the term asking what the rules are at the beginning of the committee. The book was given to us on day one. And so what we should do is allow the man to testify. I believe in the power of the Oversight Committee. Frankly, I believe in it regardless of whether Republicans or Democrats have the chair, because I believe that this committee should have the power of oversight.
This is crazy. It's quite clear that this woman, while as far as politicians go, she's, she's easy on the eyes. And it's pretty clear. I think it was Mr. Reagan a couple years ago. His YouTube channel blew up after he made a video about how she was cast. And it's obvious nobody can go to bat for these policies. Nobody can back up what she's saying. It's just her and the rest of the cult members. But the only reason she and Miss Crockett are even up there is because they're easier on the eyes than most of the Republicans. But they're doing it too. Nancy Mace isn't so bad, and Lauren Boebert. But it's pretty clear that's which way it's trending. But I guess on the plus side, the Lauren Boeberts and the Nancy Maces of the world, while better looking than the old guard of politicians, you also got Anna Paulina Luna. There's a handful, but at least they can make sense, right? So maybe if you want to say that it's happening on both sides, if the left is casting Democrats, from a restaurant or bar or wherever she worked, and the right is doing it too, but at least they can back up their points, and they're not completely criminal hypocrites.
And we cannot do that on a partisan basis. And so for that, I implore this committee to allow...
Look at this theatrics. Same thing with Britt, the woman who gave the response to Bo Biden's State of the Union. Again, easy on the eyes, I suppose, as far as politicians are concerned, but it was pure theater. It was not even remotely realistic, and you had a chance. All you had to do is sit back there and read the lines, but you didn't. It was like a Disney princess reading the rebuttal, but different story.
Hunter Biden to testify publicly. I implore and I ask for that to happen, and we cannot do that by getting...
Pounding on the desk with her pencil. Yeah, I'm so super serial.
Engaged in this back and forth on a defiance of the subpoena. Let him comply. Let him do it today. Let him do it tomorrow. But let the man do it.
And they gave him a chance, and he still declined.